Switzerland, a land that gave the world some of the best chocolate. A type of watch that for some reason gets your rich neighbor to bulge up in their pants, and also a place for Nazis to store the gold. A model of how one can be prosperous by sitting on the fence when the world is actively trying to cosplay as hell. Despite a personal bias against the European self-proclaimed elitism, one of the most important exports that I'll give them credit for is Carl Jung, a psychotherapist who learned through the study of the human condition a need for a character archetype, the one that helps shape the desired life of an individual. Life is inherently a lonely experience. You, your mind, your consciousness, in an unrealized state appear to be alone. You are born alone, live your life alone, and you die alone. And don't give me the conjoined twins smartassery. To navigate life, or let's say to feel contentment, we take different routes and we call it purpose. And the moment a roadblock, a failure, or the sheer absurdity of fruitlessness despite your best efforts to plant the tree compounds on your being, we ask ourselves, is it really my purpose? How do you deal with feeling lost? The answer? A personal relationship with an archetype. A blueprint to help you through the seemingly random chain of cause and effect. Now as Hindus, we are told or inundated with the idea that God is actually formless, changeless, attributeless, or simply called Nirguna, without qualities. We call him Brahman. Vedic seers recognize a fundamental truth about the human cognition thousands of years before modern psychology emerged. The human mind cannot love an abstraction. You cannot easily hug a mathematical formula, build a rapport with a formless void, or seek emotional comfort from the laws of physics. To address this human limitation, Brahman incarnated as Saguna Brahman, an archetype, or in the case of genuine followers of Hindu tradition, Devtas or Devis, with whom one can build a personal relationship. These beings can lead you to the impersonal immensity that is Brahman, ultimately fulfilling the actual purpose of life, liberation. Jung argued that deities are not just external religious entities, but living, universal symbols residing in the collective unconscious of humanity. In the Advaita Vedanta, a non-dual philosophy of Hinduism, it is realized that this Brahman, which appears to be impersonal, exists within you. Through spiritual practices, mainly through certain forms of meditation on the manifested forms of Brahman, termed as Saguna Brahman, this supreme consciousness can be realized. Building a personal relationship with Saguna Brahman requires you to understand them, the way you relate to your favorite role models about whom you learn things, what they like, how to react to things, what qualities they possess so you can embody them. And in this perceived time of your attention, we look at one of the funnest of the Saguna Brahman, Shri Ganesha. But I want a few things from you. First, it's imperative that you stick to the end. It will help you decipher if the mind that you're conversing with is actually Ganesh or your ego masquerading as the elephant-headed one. Even if you treat Ganesha entirely as a psychological archetype or a deliberate constructive delusion, actively building a relationship with him is a form of cognitive and emotional narrative trick. It rewires how you handle friction, failure, and creative output. Building a personal relationship with a deity often begins by understanding their character, values, and how they interact with the world. Shri Ganesha is beloved precisely because he's one of the most approachable, relatable, and deeply human of the divine figures. The birth of Shri Ganesha is more important to know if you have a certain tendency to build a relationship with those who are perceived as the parents of Ganesha, meaning if you want to build a relationship with the father Shiva or mother Parvati. But one thing the story of his birth tells us about him is that he's an upholder of duty. Mother Parvati, desiring a companion and a guardian who would be loyal exclusively to her, scraped the sacred turmeric paste and cleansing herbs from her body before her bath. From this physical clay and essence of her own skin, she sculpted the form of a beautiful boy and breathed her divine life force directly into him. Upon completion, she commanded her son to be the guardian of the inner chambers, where she bathed and said that no one should be allowed to enter. The divine duty, or what Hindus call Dharma, was set. When Lord Shiva returned to Kailash, the boy, having never seen Shiva, blocked his path. A fierce negotiation escalated into a cosmic war. Ganesha single-handedly fought and defeated Shiva's entire army of Ganas, the celestial sages, and even the combined forces of Lord Vishnu and Indra. He refused to yield an inch of his ground. This war was between nature and pure consciousness, one that we are all going through daily, confusing our mind and matter with what our true nature is, rather than seeing that thing which is observing the mind as a true consciousness. Realizing that the boy's devotion and power made him invincible in standard combat, Lord Shiva intervened directly. When goddess Parvati emerged from her chambers and discovered the broken body of her son, her grief instantly curdled into apocalyptic fury. She was not just a mother mourning a child, she was Shakti, the very energy that powers the universe, scorned and devastated. Radiating a blinding, destructive fire, Parvati summoned hundreds of thousands of ferocious goddesses and destructive energies from her own aura. She commanded them to consume the heavens, devour the gods, and dissolve the entire creation back into nothingness. Desperate to restore the cosmic balance, the three primary devatas, or Trimurti, and the trembling gods approached the mother, bowing to the earth and begging for her forgiveness. Parvati halted the destruction on one absolute condition: Ganesha should be brought back to life. He is, after all, her son. Father Shiva turned to his Ganas and told them to travel north, a direction often philosophized in the Hindu pantheon as the direction for wisdom, and find the first animals sleeping and facing north. The Ganas traveled into a forest to discover an elephant in the prescribed position. Peter, cover your ears. They chopped off the elephant's head and brought it back to Kailasha, where Lord Shiva replaced the boy's head with the elephant's head and breathed his divine force into him. After being reborn as a reward for his ability to uphold Dharma, he was granted boons from the Trinity. Wisdom from the creating tendency of the divine consciousness, Lord Brahma. Invincibility from the preserving tendency of the divine consciousness, Lord Vishnu. And Lord Shiva granted him the status of Pratham Pujaniya, a status which means before anything one does, be it in the spiritual or the material world, Ganesha should be invoked to attain the most optimal rewards. So, what do we learn about Ganesha from this story? He's a guardian who upholds duty with a ferocity that even the lords of the universe couldn't take down. So in your meditation with this archetype, you will notice that when life throws you curveballs, which create within you a sense of feeling lost, Ganesha will manifest within you the idea of what your duty is in that moment. Duty can get you out of that slumber. Shri Ganesha will give you the joy of understanding your Dharma. To continue building a psychological archetype of Shri Ganesha, we look towards the story of Mahabharata, or to be precise, at the end of Mahabharata. When sage Ved Vyas sat down to document the events of the grueling war that put brother against brother, he was faced with a big dilemma. He knew the events and the chain of cause and effect that took place, but he needed a transcriber who was extremely wise. Somebody who could actually collaborate with him to create the peace that would bring humanity to a new era of understanding the nature of duty. Having already understood the fact that this needed to be done with divine wisdom and intellect, he settled on invoking Shri Ganesha for this massive project. Ganesha appeared and agreed to transcribe the events of the Great War, but he put forth a condition. If Ved Vyas ever stops talking, he'll put down his pen and leave. You might be wondering why. If it was such an important text, why did Ganesha put forth a condition that would result in this documentary piece never seeing the light of day? The answer is a look at his nature. He's a playful aspect of Brahman. He's messing with you. But now, Vedvyasa sees that it can become impossible to keep Ganesha if you're simplistic in telling him the phrases transcribed into the book. So he decides to indulge in another character trait of Ganesha. He enjoys feeding. He loves to devour information, or what one can call vidya, and turn it into knowledge or gyan. Vedvyasa put forth a counter condition that he is allowed to transcribe the phrases or shlokas if he understands them fully, and only if he understands them fully. The Dharma was set. This allowed Vedvyas to create complex bits of poetry which could take longer to understand if he needed some time to come up with the next phrase. Giving things to devour in a collaborative process to this archetype of Shri Ganesha will help you build a more personal relationship with him. When the phrases became easier to manifest in Vedvyasa's mind, the pace between the speaker and a divine transcriber Ganesha became rapid. The two became almost in sync, what we call a flow state, but the quill couldn't keep up with the pace at which the minds can run, and the pen gave way to friction between the mental manifestation and physical reality of writing. Without a second thought, Ganesha decided to snap off his tusk for it to be dipped in ink and continue on with the transcription. This reveals another facet of his personality. Not waiting for another pen to arrive, he looked at what he had and acted out of resourcefulness. So as you're filling up your archetype, remember to add the important ingredient of resourcefulness. Don't get bogged down by what you don't have, but revel in what you do have. This personal Ganesha in your consciousness will remind you of what you have. And if the relationship keeps going strong, give you a way to use it. You have seen the image of Shri Ganesha riding a tiny mouse, his vehicle of choice. It looks hilarious at times, almost illogical for somebody who's seen as the embodiment of the universe, both material and spiritual, and frankly quite heavy to ride around on rodents. There is a story attached to it, something any devta in their own way will teach you. This rodent was formerly an asura or an anti-god called Gajamukhsura, who had received the boon of invincibility from Lord Shiva. Intoxicated by his ability to win over anything or anyone, Gajamukhsura launched a ruthless conquest across the three worlds. He stormed the heavens, dethroned Indra, and enslaved the celestial host. He demanded that all deities and sages worship him as the supreme ruler of reality. My man was so up his ass that he could taste what he had for dinner 5 lifetimes ago. The gods went into a secret meeting to pray to Lord Ganesha to come and help them defeat this egotistical maniac who would remain unmatched till centuries later when a certain someone would become Zephyr. Lord Ganesha answered the collective prayers and challenged the anti-god. Now let me remind you of the exact boon that he had received, and you will see a common trait among the asuras trying to become immortal. There is a rule in nature that we all know about. Be it a major planet or a small bacterium, it's universal. What is born must die. So Gajamukhsura thought, hey, I'm gonna outwit them all and ask for a boon so technical that it would effectively mean that I'm immortal. Upon completing the penance to Lord Shiva, he asked that he not be slain by any god, anti-god, human or beast. Let no conventional weapon of war, no sword, arrow, mace, thunderbolt or trident have the power to pierce his flesh or cause his death. But now, in the battle in front of Gajamukhsura, it was Shri Ganesha. He was half beast and half god. So there goes that technicality out of the window. Ganesha ran up to the asura and pierced his flesh with his tusk. Upon entering his body, the asura collapsed into a small mouse. The tusk had absorbed all the divine qualities that the asura had gathered over his time, and all that was left was his small-minded, I am the doer ego. Gajamukhsura asked Ganesha to spare his life, and in return he would be his vehicle. Ganesha found it funny that a mouse should carry somebody who was actually quite big and accepted. Now what does this story add to your archetype? Lord Ganesha will tame your ego. Not eradicate it completely, he is after all made from the material world, and to enjoy the fruits of the material world, you need to want it for yourself. Desires aren't bad, but they should be kept in check, and your own personal Ganesha will help you achieve it. So him riding around on a mouse is a symbol of how we should tame the ego. Don't be ruled by your ego, but make it your bitch. One day, on Mount Kailash, sage Narada came to visit Lord Shiva, and with him he carried a gift, a mango that contained the entirety of wisdom, immortality and omniscience, with one condition: it cannot be shared by people, or else it will turn into a simple fruit devoid of any qualities. Father Shiva and Mother Parvati were already brimming with what this fruit could offer. So they decided to hold a little friendly competition between Lord Ganesha and his elder brother Lord Kartikeya to determine who gets the fruit that only years of severe penance and austerities can provide, and in terms of immortality, not even that. The two were called before father and mother. Lord said, "Whoever circumnavigates the entire universe 3 times first wins the fruit." Profound tension settled over the divine code. Kartikeya, whose very nature was rooted in martial discipline and physical excellence, desired the fruit to enhance his tactical mastery. Ganesha, whose massive head housed infinite curiosity, desired it to deepen his understanding of the cosmos. The Dharma was set. Lord Kartikeya's vehicle was a gigantic celestial peacock, with a pace close to the speed of light. And as the starting gun rang in Mount Kailash's ear, Kartikeya was out to conquer the task in front of him. Meanwhile, a protagonist of the video looked at his tiny mouse. The tiny mouse looked back at him, his eyes begging Ganesha not to mount him for the entirety of the cosmos. The mouse was slow, and Ganesha wasn't the lightest one to carry. And as the eyes of defeat slowly started to gaze upon our hero, Ganesha changed the entire game. He went to his parents and circumnavigated them 3 times. Upon completion, he asked them for the fruit. When asked why he deserved it, he simply replied that for a child, his, her, their parents are the entire cosmos. They live and die by their grace. And in his case, especially his father was the supreme consciousness and his mother the primordial energy through which the entire cosmos was created. In fact, if he peeps into either of their mouths, he will see the entire cosmos residing inside them. And in an instant, Shivaya and Parvati were floored. The mango was Shri Ganesha's. Upon completing the task, Shri Kartikeya returned to Kailash. He knew as he was circumnavigating that Ganesha didn't stand a chance with a mouse slower than your grandmother's typing speed. As he walked into the tavern, Ganesha was contemplating whether to throw the skin of the mango or devour it as well. Kartikeya went to his parents to learn about how he was defeated and realized that true strength doesn't lie in martial excellence but in achieving knowledge. In fact, Ganesha could have circumnavigated anyone because an entire cosmos resides in every being. They just don't know it yet. Now let's get back to our archetype of Lord Ganesha. Ganesha rejects literalism. While the rest of the world gets trapped in the literal definitions of words, rules, and physical boundaries, Ganesha sees directly into the structural essence of reality. He teaches that true knowledge is the ability to see through the surface level rules of the world to find the hidden shortcuts woven by truth. And now, this is the most important aspect of building your own personal Ganesha, the humor. A lot of testimonial interactions see him being incredibly funny, and as you are the one building this archetype in your consciousness, he will tend to reflect your sense of humor. He will make jokes at your expense if your humor is harmless self-deprecation. Or, if you're darkly humorous, he will make jokes which will point out the absurdity of whatever you're interacting with him for. Tattvam Asi. You are that. You are God. You, my friend, are Ganesha. So as these stories start to become an object of your contemplation, you slowly start to turn into Ganesha, who acts as a role model for your existence. Christians have this great rule of self-inquiry that they use in daily life. What would Jesus do? Even though it actually equates to blasphemy, how can you pretend to be Jesus, right? But since our Hindu sampradayas don't actually have the concept of blasphemy, we can do it unabashedly. And from this moment on, we do the same by asking ourselves, what would Ganesha do? To help you further, let's look at the visual symbolism of Lord Ganesha and how different aspects of his symbolized being can help you inculcate ideas for a happier life. We are not looking at his ayudhas or the objects held in his arms for now. As you go further down the road with your relationship with him, you'll see the symbolism for yourself. His elephant head is a symbol of vast wisdom. His large ears are a symbol for an ability to listen deeply, not hear, but listen. What this implies is that one should listen more than one speaks and absorb knowledge with an open mind. His tiny eyes are supposed to symbolize an ability to sharply concentrate and look through the surface level of bullshit to reveal the esoteric truth underneath. His broken tusk, as we know, is a sign of being resourceful, not getting bogged down by an obstacle, but finding a creative solution to tackle it. His large belly is a symbol of digesting the good and bad with the same level of equanimity. The spectrum of situations that have arisen requires you to act with a steady heart rate. Remember, good or bad moments are temporary. The divine spark is permanent. Now that you somewhat know what his nature is from these select stories and the symbols, how do you interact with him? It will look at him like he is an ideal family member, like a father, a brother, a lover, or as I personally maintain my relationship with him, like a friend. This allows for his humor to shine through. A friend who will not leave you because boy, he's in your consciousness. Our Swiss friend Carl Jung prescribed a method for our mental interactions with these archetypes. He called it active imagination, and the Vedic rishis called it Mansik Puja. A ritual where you imagine invoking the archetype into your consciousness by inviting him into a comfortable area created by your imagination where it's only you and him, where you can have discussions about whatever, good or bad, for help or just thanking them. The specifics don't matter. The first step, say the mantra for the deity. Now this is where Mr. Young and we pivot from the road, but don't worry, the destination is the same. Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Roughly translating to I bow down to Ganpati, the divine manifestation of the divine unmanifest. And as they say, gods have a compulsion within them to visit the one calling out. Say the mantra a few times. This becomes a moment of meditation. Drop the restless mind for these few invocations. I understand it can be difficult when you're stuck in a rut, but this empty mind with only the vibrations of the mantras helps clean the clutter for Ganesha to arrive in. You can continue the repetition of the mantras for these next steps. You can be vocal or do it mentally. Now, after enough mantras have passed, you might notice your subconscious start to form an image of Ganesha in your happy place. But remember, do not force it. Continue chanting the mantra and offer him something to feed on. We know by his stories that his belly needs something to tantalize it. Modaks, laddus, kheer or macaroons. Again, the specifics aren't important. You might see him eating with great delight, like the way you do when you have been hungry for hours. Now talk to him like a friend and lay out whatever you want his help with. Remember, he has not manifested in your consciousness to do it all for you, but to guide you. You become his instrument. Assign him a specific functional role based on the problem you're solving. Speak out loud or in your internal monologue with absolute brutal clarity. Strip away all performative fluff or any kind of self-pity and wait. Continue chanting his mantra, sitting next to him in your voluntary state of schizophrenia, and there, some kind of breakthrough might take over your mind. That's Ganesha showing off his wisdom. Keep chanting and thank him. He might ask for more modaks and well, stop acting like a Jew and give it to him. And if this practice isn't working well for you, then don't worry. The most important step in all of this is to meditate. Meditation is one practice that every human on earth should inculcate in their life. But there is one thing that you should know about it. One size doesn't fit all. If one method didn't work for you, doesn't mean the entire practice won't. Just find the right method for yourself. If you want to know more about it, I'll definitely cover it on this journey, which I hope you will support by clicking the subscribe button. Now for the final section of me stealing your time. How do you differentiate between your ego speaking to you and a genuine Ganesha breakthrough? There are 4 signals by which you can judge if the replies to your concerns are just your ego or if the mantra is doing something for you. The first is the tone of the reply. If you notice that the replies you're getting are fueling your anxiety, flattering, or getting overtly critical to the point that a mental paralysis hits your being, then that, my friend, ain't Ganesha. Ganesha's replies will be calm, objective, often playful and surprisingly direct. The second signal is the predictability aspect of it. If Ganesha is telling you something you already feared, then again that's not him. His nature is that of a wise man. A wise man doesn't add to the fear that everybody in the room is already feeling, but gives you a surprising angle or an unexpected reframing of the entire situation. He'll give you something to eradicate that fear. The pacing of what is being said is also a major telltale sign that it is in the Ganesha section of your consciousness. When the divine speaks to you, it's not a roller coaster of words that you pry out of him. It's completely formed. There is nothing to decipher in it. Its essence is effortless. The final signal is the nature of the advice. Ego puppeteering is often vague, grandiose, or emotionally overwhelming. Lord Ganesha activating within your consciousness is practical, grounded, actionable, and often simpler than you expected. Completely ignores your self-pity, gently chuckles at your tendency to overcomplicate the narrative, and hands you an unexpected practical workaround that immediately simplifies the problem. It triggers a sudden somatic lightness and dropping your shoulders before your critical mind can even argue. And I lied. This video will not get you closer to Ganesha. You will. Say his name, drink it in, and see how he changes your life. Yeah, the one that you called painful.